It's going to ruffle some feathers, bird flu.
Farmers and egg producers have been forced to keep chickens inside since November. That's
the largest we've seen in the UK.
the worst outbreak of avian flu the UK has ever seen.
Something turned it into a deadly disease.
A scientist walks along a beach she's visited for 20 years. She's seen exactly one deceased adult seal in her entire career. Today, she counts 37. Before lunch. For millions of years, Antarctica was what scientists call a naive population. Sounds innocent, almost sweet. It means every animal on that continent evolved with zero immune defenses against the outside world. The Southern Ocean was a moat. The circumpolar winds were a wall. Nothing got in. Which means when something finally did get in, there was nothing to stop it. Millions of years of isolation, nature's greatest gift to Antarctic wildlife. Until October 2023, when it became the setup for the most devastating mass die-off in recorded polar history. But here's what nobody's talking about. The thing that's wiping out seals on the surface? That's just the distraction. The real nightmare is what's waking up underneath. Antarctica isn't experiencing a crisis. Antarctica is under coordinated biological assault from two directions, simultaneously. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why you, yes, you, watching this from somewhere warm and safe, are already part of it. Let's start with what came from the sky. October 2023, South Georgia Island.
Seals, sea lions, and other marine mammals are spreading H5N1 to one another.
British Antarctic Survey researchers noticed the elephant seals are acting strange, trembling, refusing to move, fluid seeping from their eyes. Within weeks, the beaches look like the aftermath of a disaster. The attacker, H5N1, highly pathogenic avian influenza, clade 2.3.4.4b. You've heard of bird flu. You probably think it ends birds. This strain does something worse. It doesn't attack the lungs. It attacks the brain. Neurotropic, that's the term. The virus travels through your nervous system like a tourist visiting every landmark, except the landmarks are the parts of your brain that control movement, coordination, and eventually, everything else. Field reports describe infected seals experiencing uncontrollable tremors, loss of motor function, convulsions, something called bradykinesia, movements slowing down, like the body is forgetting how to operate itself. Imagine watching yourself shut down, section by section, while still conscious. That's what H5N1 does to mammals. Nature's cleanup crew, the skuas, scavenger birds that eat remains and then migrate thousands of kilometers, delivered this gift directly to the one place on Earth with no defenses against it: some delivery service. By the end of the 2023 to 2024 breeding season, the numbers came in. The largest elephant seal colony in the world, 54% of the entire global population, lost 47% of its breeding females. 53,000 animals. Gone. On Argentina's Valdez Peninsula, 17,000 seal pups perished in a single season. 96% of the juveniles. A marine biologist named Valeria Falabella, who'd studied those beaches for decades, described walking among the remains. She said it felt like a catastrophe had swept through. Here's the detail that should unsettle you. Those pups were still nursing. They weren't catching this from eating infected birds. They were getting it from their mothers, through milk, through contact, through the air they shared. Mammal-to-mammal transmission, the thing epidemiologists have nightmares about. And it's already happening, just not to us. Yet.
Yeah, we did expect avian flu to reach South Georgia, so to spread throughout South America.
The world is still in the grip of an avian flu epidemic that has just been devastating for bird population.
It's vector that brings the disease into South Georgia, and that indeed happened in October.
And now there are increasing concerns over infections cropping up in mammals.
Now picture this. Emperor penguins survive Antarctic winter by huddling. Thousands of birds pressed together, sharing body heat, sharing air. From an epidemiological standpoint, it's the world's most efficient disease amplification system. And it's full of animals that have never encountered this virus. Researchers in early 2025 used air filtration pumps around colonies that looked perfectly healthy. They found H5N1 saturating the atmosphere. The penguins look fine. They're infected anyway. Asymptomatic superspreaders, standing inches from tourists and scientists who then fly home to every continent on Earth. That's the attack from above. Now let me show you what's crawling out from below. While a modern virus spreads across the surface, something far older is defrosting. Permafrost. Soil frozen for thousands of years. No oxygen, no light, temperatures stable enough to preserve biological material essentially forever. Think of it as nature's deep freezer, except nobody labeled what's inside, and someone just unplugged it. In 2022, a French research team led by Professor Jean-Michel Claverie decided to find out what happens when you thaw the contents. They extracted samples from Siberian permafrost, isolated viral particles, and tried to wake them up. It took less than a day. The oldest virus they resurrected? 48,500 years old. Pandora virus Yedoma. Frozen before humans left Africa, before we invented fire pits, before we had language complex enough to warn each other about threats. Claverie put it in a dish with amoebas, simple single-celled organisms, and the virus immediately began infecting them. 50,000 years in cold storage, and it woke up hungry. 13 revivals. 5 new virus families science had never documented, all proving the ice is a time capsule for pathogens. Now, these particular viruses only infect amoebas, no direct threat to humans. But here's what Claverie said, and I want you to really hear this. If the amoeba viruses are still alive, there is no reason why the other viruses will not be still alive and capable of infecting their own hosts. Translation: the harmless ones survived, which means the dangerous ones did too. We just haven't thawed them yet. And we know what's in there. Now let's talk about the main event, the Thwaites Glacier, Florida-sized, nicknamed the Doomsday Glacier, and not by journalists, not filmmakers, the scientists themselves. In late 2024, oceanographers documented warm currents reaching the glacier's base. The ice shelf is losing contact with the bedrock that anchors it. When ice of that scale destabilizes, it doesn't just release water. It releases everything preserved inside. Organic material accumulated over hundreds of thousands of years. We catalog what we can access. We can't catalog what's still frozen. Not yet. So here's where the two threads meet. From above, a modern virus, one we can sequence, one we've studied for decades, spreading through populations with no evolutionary defenses. Seal to seal, bird to bird, detectable in the air around colonies where researchers work and tourists gather. From below, preserved biological material we haven't identified, locked in ice that's warming faster than models predicted. Both arriving at the same place, both encountering species that evolution left unprotected, both connected to currents that don't stop at the Southern Ocean. Those currents feed into the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian. Migratory birds that breed in the subantarctic winter along coastlines from Patagonia to California, from Texas shores to the Alaskan peninsula. Same species, same routes, same air we breathe. The Southern Ocean was a barrier for millions of years. What was sealed is becoming unsealed, gradually, measurably. Like a secret carried on polar winds, finally reaching ears that were never meant to hear it. I don't know what emerges next. The researchers stationed on that ice don't know either. What we know is this: 53,000 elephant seals were missing from last breeding season. A neurotropic virus is now established across the Antarctic Peninsula. And beneath the surface, in ice older than our species, there are organisms that haven't touched open air in geological time, waiting for conditions to change. Conditions that are changing now. The frozen continent is shifting. What took millions of years to isolate is becoming accessible in decades. The question isn't whether something will emerge. Things already have. The question is what else, and whether anyone will notice before it's already moving. The next time you hear about a bird flu outbreak on a Midwest farm, or a seal die-off on a beach you'll never visit, remember where the trail leads. Remember how short the distance really is between that ice and your doorstep. If you made it this far, past the melting ice and the collapsing biospheres, thank you. Truly, your attention is the only thing that keeps this channel alive. Hit subscribe if you want to be here for the next revelation. This was Paradox, and I'll see you in the dark.